Hi, welcome along to AFTV Fanzone. Your chance to come on here today and have your say about the big issues around Arsenal. And of course, we're going to talk about yesterday's game. Yeah, I know you've probably been talking about it all day today at work. You've probably been talking about it all day on your WhatsApp groups or on X or Twitter or Instagram or wherever it is. You've been talking about it because it's been the biggest talking point. Actually, I saw a figure that said 7.6 million people watched that game yesterday over here in the UK. A new record for the amount of people who watched it, just showing that, you know, Arsenal, Liverpool, two massive clubs. So massive talking points around the game. Cecil's joined me as well to talk about it. I know that you... very painfully today, I noticed you earlier watching the whole game back.
Yeah.
I know, you know, well done, bro.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well done. I couldn't do that, you know. I'm telling you, I went home last night and I watched it on Match of the Day, and that was enough for me.
No, the whole game back.
Yeah, man.
The whole game back. I watched every second of every minute, all the way back on FA Cup. They had it on YouTube. They played the full match. I watched it back. It was painful, but it reminded me just of all the chances that we had, because sometimes when you're watching it in game, we're here on the Match Day Live, we're here in the studio, you watch it, but there's a lot of emotions happening. So then I've tried to clear my mind, watch it back today. It was just as painful, if I'm honest. But do you know what? And obviously after the match, online went crazy. Everyone was, I think everyone loves an Arsenal downfall, so they were going crazy. So I wanted to just make sure I was up to date with everything I was going to argue and come back at people. But it is a bit of a problem what we're seeing right now from Arsenal, and watching it back gave me a bit of clarity. But still, I'm still annoyed, Robbie. I'll be honest. It was a frustrating result yesterday.
Let me throw a few stats at people.
Let's go.
61 shots. 61. I'm not talking about tequila shots. 61 shots Arsenal have had on goal in the last 3 games and have scored 1 goal. 43 shots at home at the Emirates,
Mad.
No goals. That immediately points to an issue with the strike force. The strike force are just not scoring goals, and when you watch that game yesterday, I was in the stadium watching the game. I couldn't believe it. You know, I thought we played some great football up until it came to shooting. You know what I mean? Some of the in the first half, some of the build-up play was wonderful to watch. We were moving the ball so well. We were moving it at pace, something that we didn't really do against Fulham. And we were looking really, really good in the game. But when it came down to finishing, nah.
Toothless.
And at the end of the day, there can be no excuses for losing that game yesterday. That's nothing to do with referees or to do with
the weather, nothing. There's nothing.
And you don't put that game down to luck either. You can't turn around and say to a Liverpool fan, you were lucky.
No way.
Because it's all our own fault. We didn't take our chances and they took theirs. And it was the same against when we played West Ham. They had 3 shots. They scored 2 goals, right? I remember they even missed a penalty in that, right? We had 30.
Yeah.
Something is going wrong with our strike force. Something's gone wrong.
Our attack. Not even just, you can say strike force, but from last season, our strike force, if you look at Jesus and Eddie, they didn't get amazing numbers, but the other players in the front line were picking up big numbers, and that's what kept our attack going. I think Julian actually mentioned it's not just the striking position. Yes, it is a big issue, but also our attack is also failing as well. And fair play to you, there's a good accountability there that you're not making excuses either. I saw you today on DR Roundup and I was like, boy, I don't know how you did it, but there's no excuses. You took your
lead. They came for me. Listen,
yeah, I
take my licks, man.
There's no excuses here. There's problems, but we want to come and get to the bottom of what is going on right now at Arsenal. That's why we're here to speak to you guys. Fanzone is available, it's open. Go and join it. Let's talk.
Fanzone's open right now. We want to hear from as many of you as possible today. All you've got to do is go onto the app, AFTV Plus.
Click straight on.
And click straight on. There's also a link as well. If you just click straight onto the link, you can jump straight into the show today, come on video and have your say. Want as many new callers as possible today as well. So get involved. Let us know what how are you feeling? Have you got over it yet? Have you got over it yet, or are you still feeling it? Have you had some annoying Liverpool fan in your ears like what I've had all day long reminding you about yesterday? Do you think that Arteta's to blame for this one?
Who's the problem?
Is it Arteta's fault? Is it the striker's fault? Is it the defence?
Is it the
You know what I mean?
defence? Is it the
Another goal
players?
conceded from a set piece. You know, who's to blame?
Who's to blame?
Or-
I even liked Turkish yesterday on the Match Day Live when he said about, like, I can't even blame the Cronkies. I can't say, because if Arteta goes to them in this window and says, I need more money, he'll be like, but you spent 65 on Havertz, you spent this on that goalkeeper, now you've got a goalkeeper dilemma. All these players that you put money into, make them work. If you haven't making them work, you can't just come to me and always ask for a cash injection. And I was very mature of Turkish as well for saying that, because he's been Conke's biggest hater. So there's. Is it Arteta's fault? Is it the players' fault? Is it the strikers? Is it the attackers?
Also, I want to know, are people overreacting as well? You know, I mean, there's people basically saying our season's over. Our season's not over. We still got 2 things to fight for.
It does feel like it, though.
But no, it doesn't to me. I know when seasons are over. I'll tell you. Right, we've had many of them where at this time of year, it's all over. We're still in the Champions League.
Yeah.
We got Porto to play. That's a very winnable game. And we've still got the league. We've got games coming up. Right, the Liverpool result, we can put that right. We've got Liverpool coming up in the league.
Yeah.
Right, chance to put that right. Chance to show people that pace. You know, it was a blip. It's going to be about mentality now. It's going to be about how this group of players react. They've gone away on warm weather training. I'm hearing that they're there already.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
they're there already.
well,
you know what I mean? Warm weather training over there in Dubai. And there's going to be a lot of soul searching out there. The one thing I did like about the game is that I did see a reaction to the Fulham game. You know what I mean? We moved the ball. We created a lot of chances. I didn't think we did that very well in the Fulham game, but we moved the ball. It was good, but up until the final third. So
It had to be better than what we saw there, because where'd you go from ground zero? I'll be honest. Cause that's what I was saying on the Match Day Live. It's been a reaction. I'm like, there had to be after what we saw there. It'd been awful if we didn't come out the blocks firing, and even still there was a reaction, but it didn't end up getting a result we wanted, Robbie. I'm still, as you can probably tell, I'm still feeling it. I'm still hurting over that result, and it's a shame because I had a lot of belief for this season, a lot of hope, but seeing the most recent performances of 3 defeats have really, really hurt me. But got to have clarity. Like you mentioned, you know, there's still a favourable run in Champions League. I think the league is a big arts. I think Champions League, you never know, depending on the run, but I need to see a big change when they come back from this warm weather training.
Who's the most, let me ask you a question, who's the most clinical player in that Arsenal team?
Oh,
In of the attacking players?
I would say Trossard, but I've seen him start and not be good. I'd say Trossard, but if you're going to go stats, you say Saka or Eddie Nketiah. But for me, whoever's in front of, I'll put Trossard. Yeah, clinical, which is a weird one. Why? Who would you say? That's a hard question.
It's probably Saka, even though he's not been. Probably not. You know, he's not been at his best this season, but you know, he's the one more likely to give you output.
Yeah,
like goals and but he's not been great this season. You know, by his very high standards. Martinelli was so good last year, hasn't been. Jesus was putting away chances last year, hasn't been doing it this year.
Saka has had some massive chances, honestly, huge, and just absolutely skied it.
Got a super chat here that's come from Ricky Proctor. He says it's Arteta's fault. 100 million opportunity cost. Raya and Havertz aren't the problems, but the money spent. Whoops, see this here? Money spent could have been used on much better. Do you agree with that?
He has a point. Yeah, when you look at how well, like, you know, Kudus was doing, and like at West Ham, and you look at some of the people who were linked to in the before windows, it is frustrating to see. And then you think, well, why was our money not spent there? I know we tried on certain players, but we didn't get them over the line when we should have. And I've seen them, like I said, I've seen those players kick on. And the Havertz thing, I'll be real. Listen, I've had my thoughts. I thought I was going to eat my words. You know, he went on the run. You mentioned it. You know, he scored a couple late-minute winners. But I made up my mind about Havertz before he arrived at Arsenal, because I knew what player we was getting. He was never a striker. He arrived. I tried to give him a bit of a chance, but I kind of knew what he was. And sadly now, you see, he's not the guy, Robbie. And it's frustrating. He's been
one of our better players.
Well, that says it all then. If you believe that, I think that says it all.
Well, no, because you can't just be revisionist about...
I'm not a revisionist. People know my thoughts on Havertz.
About a month ago, he was our player. Not this month, last month. It was December. It was Odegaard. Player of the month for November was Havertz, wasn't it? Right, Havertz scored some very, very important goals for us, but those goals were from playing in midfield and arriving late into the box
yeah,
and
he's not a
scoring
striker.
goals. When he's been asked to play as a striker, right, it's not a striker. He kind of plays the role a bit better than the others in that he gets in the box. So he's not a striker.
You can get in the box, my
He's not a striker. Yeah, well, our other players don't get in the box. They're always outside the box, in and around the box. No one's in there on the end of things. But he's not a natural striker either.
He's not. He's not a natural.
You know, this is part of the problem. I mean, there's not a lot of great strikers out
100%.
there either. That's the problem as well.
That's why I also think we're being linked to midfielders as well. And that's funny. We did the breaking news today, and I was thinking, wow, we're being linked to Amadou Onana, right? I'm like, realistically, you're trying to bring him in now to fix the problem of bringing in Havertz, because realistically, you're going to put Onana in 6, push Declan Rice into the 8, where you put your chips on Havertz. So you're trying to now patch over mistakes that Arteta you made. So I don't know. It's a weird one. No.
Hold on. That's a bit harsh, because remember, it would have been probably Thomas Partey playing as a DM with.
Then with what?
With Thomas Partey,
DM, Rice,
Odegaard.
So when we signed Havertz, what was he signing for then? To be a bench player,
I think Havertz was supposed to be like a player that would come in but wouldn't always start. That's my presumption. That's my presumption on it. That's why always from the beginning I was like, 65 million for a player that doesn't look to me that he's
crazy
gonna start every game was a bit.
That's bewildering.
Yeah, it is. He's from day one. That's why I've always questioned it. Because to me, that's the best midfield. The best midfield is Partey.
I agree with that.
Rice, Odegaard.
But now you have to move on Partey because his injury record's a joke. I don't want to scapegoat Havertz either. I don't want to make it all about, because I think he's part of the problem, but he's not the problem. There's so many other issues right now at Arsenal. And again, this is for you guys. I know we've got some callers waiting, but we want to hear from you guys. But that is a big problem, that position. Even Turkish in the comments here. Partey started the season right back though. I think the idea was Rice, Havertz and Odegaard.
I don't think so. I think Partey started the season at right back. That was obviously not working. But I think Partey started the season at right back only because Zinchenko was injured. So you didn't have Zinchenko on that left-hand side who could invert. I think if Zinchenko would have been fit, I think it would have been Partey, Rice.
Yeah.
And
we saw the best performances with that as well.
Yeah.
But we also saw him drop Gabriel Magalhaes at the start of the season, Arteta. And to this day, I don't know why that is.
Yeah,
we haven't got the answer to that. That was crazy.
He has done a few things that he's tampered with. And listen, I guess the thing is, you have to try something else.
Yeah, that's
because,
true.
last season we didn't win the league. For all the great play that everyone said we played and all that, we didn't win the league. So you got to try something a bit different if you're going to push on.
Yeah.
But some fundamental things you've got to look at Mikel Arteta for, because you've got to look on it and say, why, this is the big one for me, Aaron Ramsdale. Why is he, I saw him playing yesterday, the team looked more than comfortable with him in there. He pulled off a great save in the game. His distribution was good. That pass that he made right at the start of the game to Reece Nelson, which Reece Nelson should have scored from, he played brilliantly. Is David Raya better than Aaron Ramsdale? I don't think he is.
No, and
And David Raya has come straight in as the number one.
Crazy.
Surely Ramsdale, in looking on that documentary and just looking at the guy he is and how the players to react to him on the pitch, looks like he's a very popular player.
100%.
Was it right to bomb him out of it? Because that's what he's happened. He's bombed him out of the team. And now as well, I fear that could have been one of Ramsdale's last games we saw yesterday.
Yeah, so do I, which I fear.
There's no FA Cup.
I fear.
He's not going to play in the Champions League, is he? He's not going to play in the league unless Raya gets injured.
And he's still a fan favourite. You see every time he's on the pitch, you see the
other day at Fulham. Remember the other day at Fulham when Raya got injured and listen, it was a bit naughty, but fans were singing Aaron Ramsdale when our own player was injured because they wanted Ramsdale to come in.
But
He didn't need to tamper with that. I've seen nothing change. I've seen no difference.
Yeah, and you know what? We're not being revisionist. We're not saying we want the manager sacked, by the way. I want to make that clear as well, because people are going to be like, you're going so harsh on Arteta. But there's been mistakes that we want to highlight.
Questions have to be asked.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And quickly before we go to calls as well, he did say, I'm going to rotate through the keepers. If he actually did that, I'll be honest,
hasn't rotated through no keepers.
It would have been fine. But no, because he hasn't done that. It's created this whole problem. So that's on him as well.
We got a caller. I think we got Michael, and
oh, Jesus.
We're trying to break everything down here. Everything's plugged out.
I just hope the sound's still... Oh, let's see if we plug that back in. I can hear you, but Robbie's just pulled out his headphones. He's still angry with the result from yesterday.
We got... Yeah, we got Michael.
Let's see if I can...
All right, let's get Michael up first. How you doing, Michael? And remember,
good,
everybody...
Robbie, how you doing?
Not good. I've had Liverpool fans in my ears all day long giving me stick. I've had to... From I woke up this morning... Till now, all I've been hearing about is the game, and every time I keep thinking about it, it just brings back horrible memories. I mean, it was an awful day, and we didn't even play bad. That was the thing, apart from finishing.
Yeah. Right, but what I don't understand are the people that say, oh, well, finishing is a problem for the individual players. It's not a problem for Arteta. I disagree with that. I think what we're seeing is the fact that Arteta has an incredibly sophisticated, detailed choreography for playing out of the back up until we hit the final third. And at that point, it's just, wait for something to happen, figure something out, take a shot, hope that there's some kind of chaos that opens up an opening. But I don't see any real plan. I don't see, like when Martinelli beats his man to the byline, and gets down to the goal line and is able to put a cross in, there should be a detailed play for why, like, you've got 4 or 5 people hitting open spots at the near and the far post and in the middle. But that it's not happening. And Martinelli doesn't get the assist because the people in the box are reacting too late. And I feel like that's down to Arteta. You can blame the individual players for not reacting quickly enough, but it's that you don't see the kind of detailed choreography in the final third that he insists on when you play out the back.
But hold on a minute there, Michael. Yesterday, right? The first chance of force to Reece Nelson. Ain't got nothing to do with Arteta. Take the ball. The ball's dropped down nicely. Chip the keeper. Chip. But you know what? He's not a natural finisher. He tries to overplay it, overdo it. And then even then, when he goes round, gets out wide to Alisson, decision-making. He's got Saka, he's got 2 players in the box. Saka arriving, he doesn't look and just kicks it straight at Alisson. Chance gone, we would have been 1-0 up. Havertz, that header, that got nothing to do with Arteta. You're in the right position. The ball's come over to you. Header it in the back of the net. Put in the onion bag, as we say over in England. Right? That's all he had to do. That's got nothing to do with Arteta. The other time when there was another chance that fell to Havertz, takes 1 touch, 2 touch. You're playing Liverpool. These are quality players, Konate, and these are top defenders. You don't get that time in the Premier League. You've got to be instinctively, take it out of your feet, bang. A guy said to me earlier on, he said, if Harry Kane had been playing for Arsenal yesterday, he probably had a hat-trick.
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it, because he's a natural finisher. These guys can't finish their dinner. They can't finish their dinner.
I agree. I'm just saying that decision-making is something that you work on at the training ground just like everything else. And it's obvious watching this team that they are drilled much more rigidly when it comes to playing out the back than they are about decision-making in the final third. That shouldn't just be left to the creative instinct of players. That's something where each player has to be aware of what their options are, and they're trained on how to make the right decision there.
Yeah, but I'm sure they are.
Can't train.
I'm sure they are, right? But there's one part of it you can drill out. You can do all the other. You can drill everything, right? But the one part you can't drill is that natural instinctive.
To score, you can't.
When the ball comes to you, see it open it, bang. Instinctive, bang. There's a space, but I ain't got the time back. We were just dwelling on the ball way too much yesterday. And that's, I think, a lot of that's to do with the fact that, number one, you got players that are off form, because last year they weren't doing that.
Yeah.
They weren't doing that last year. They were burying it. I mean, some of the chances Saka's missed this season, he was burying those all day long last year. And as a matter of fact, Michael, I think some of these players are overthinking it. Instead of just doing what they naturally do best, which is when you get into that position, bury the ball. They're thinking about the cutback. They're thinking about the extra touch. They're thinking about, all right, let me just lay it off to him. Bang it!
They're trying to be too acute, too perfect. They're trying to get the perfect goal. Sometimes you got to have a killer instinct. That's what Robbie just mentioned there. I think as some attackers, we're just not ruthless enough. I think that's a mentality thing as well. Like you can't coach it, by the way, as well. Arteta's done, I think, on the training ground enough. You kind of let players get to that. Once you cross the halfway line, you get into that final third. Go and express yourself. But it seems like I don't know what we're trying to do. Overexpress.
But if that's true, then Arteta needs to be much more ruthless with his forward players.
Oh, I agree with that as well.
That's all. There's got to be accountability.
Of course.
You know, like if Reece Nelson blazes the ball over the bar or hits it straight at the keeper, that cannot be allowed to accumulate. He is not good enough to play in our starting 11 if he's not capable of improving on that.
Yeah, but unfortunately, some players are just not undroppable. But like Bukayo Saka's been terribly off form. He started. Martinelli's been sacrificed. He's been dropped over him. When I think it should have been Bukayo Saka at times, but we just sometimes have to keep. I don't know. Like Lee's been saying, try and keep playing player into form, but it doesn't always work. You're right. He needs to be ruthless with some of the attackers.
I do think at least some of the problem with Saka is that he's not getting enough help from Ben White on overlapping runs, and he's not got other people in the area creating chaos that allows an opening for him to move into. You can be the best player in the world. You can be Mo Salah, but if you have an absolute stalemate in front of you, there's no like openings being created by your teammates. You can't blame the guy for not putting it in the top corner.
But truthfully though, yesterday Saka had a lot of one-on-ones and he wasn't getting double, tripled up on it, and I'm telling you, it was not good.
Yeah, he didn't have a great game.
Not good.
Michael, just before you go here, right? I want to ask you one last thing. Do we need to worry? Or do you think this team will turn it around? Got a little break now. They've gone away to Dubai, get a bit of sun on them.
Lucky for them.
Get a good training in, hopefully. They're not in too many clubs or nothing. Get a bit of training, right? Get themselves back up to speed and then back at that game. Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest away, Liverpool again. Chance to turn it around. Do you have faith this team can do it?
We're not good as the league leaders. I think we always do better when people forget about us and think that we're a banter team, and that's when we start to get dangerous again. That's my hope.
So stay like third, second for most of the season, and then later on, just like a horse race, you just come up on the rails.
Exactly, come up on their shoulder. To willful men, the injuries we procure ourselves must be our schoolmasters. Come on, you Gunners. See you guys later.
Love it, Michael, man. Big up.
Okay.
Big up, Michael, man. He always leaves us with a
lovely... He does a bit of Shakespeare.
Lovely bit of Shakespeare.
My school days, bloody hell.
I love him, man.
We got Kean next. We saw him yesterday. Kean, you got back.
Safe.
And I'm sure you're a lot warmer than you were yesterday. Bloody hell, we were freezing yesterday.
Yeah, I remember Kean. He was over from Ireland, wasn't
you? Yeah, he was there yesterday.
Yeah, I live in Manchester, but from Ireland. Yeah.
From Ireland, yeah.
Yeah. So you got back home safely. What's the weather like up? There's a bit of snow down here. It's been a bit mad.
Yeah, it's been very cold, really. I got back today, kind of stayed last night in London, and then got the train back up today. So
calm down now. You seemed a bit angry yesterday. I mean, you weren't too happy. Calm down.
Frustrated. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to recording my own podcast episode on it.
No, it was very frustrating. Very frustrating. Yeah. Who's to blame? When you think about what's, 61 shots in 3 games, 1 goal.
Yeah.
Whose fault is that? Is that players? Is that manager? Is that systems?
I think it's a mixture of everything. Maybe it's down to even just the coaches, the football coaches as well, and the background staff as well. Whatever drills they're doing in training. Like, I don't know if you noticed it in the warm up yesterday when they're taking their shots on goal. I think Arsenal missed pretty much 90% of their shots, or the keeper saved them. I don't think many people would have noticed that yesterday, and I was literally looking at it, I was like, these boys can't score.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
I saw that at Fulham, actually, funny enough. I obviously we don't mention.
Do you know what?
You don't really look in depth in that, but
I'm gonna say something, right?
he's not wrong.
One time, right, we were playing Spurs, at the Emirates, and that's when I used to sit in the North Bank. And was it, or was it actually? No, I think it might have been even at White Hart Lane. I can't remember exactly anyway. But Harry Kane was warming up. Yeah, I hate to talk about this guy, right? But Harry Kane was
he's not
warming
Spurs
up
anymore,
because
man.
we know he's a clinical striker, and I watched him.
Yeah.
And all of the shots that he took when he was warming up went in. And everything he hit was low and hard into the corner. Low and hard into the corner. Right? Very deliberate what he was doing. And you say, we're saying we don't put a lot of importance on that, but if you're warming up with something, you want to get those shots accurate.
Yeah, there's standards.
Don't just run up and blasting, 10 yards over the bar and this. Because you're warming up and practicing for the game that is ahead.
Yeah. But some players will say, if I have a bad warm up, I'll have a good game. I don't. That's what. And I've been there, but you're right though. When you're in Premier League, you're playing for a big club. Really, your standards from training, and if we're going by Thierry Henry model as well, training to when you're before everything should be fine and perfect. That's how you're going into a game. Players you play, trainers you're going to play. But I don't know. There's some players that will say, like I said, bad warm up, good game. But listen,
it's like watching that. It kind of frustrated me. I was like, come on, lads, like. It's the first thing you do before a match. You make sure you get your goals. You get that confidence. You're like, okay, look, I'm ready to go. And just even with looking at that, I was like, just these guys don't seem ready to play today. And then I think when you watch the match, like even when I was speaking to you, Robbie, after it, like we were frustrated even with some of the decisions. Like you drop Martinelli, but you could easily have dropped Saka as well for the game because they've pretty much both have been very poor kind of recently. Likes of Smith Rowe not even getting a look in the squad at the moment. He only gets 5-minute cameos now at this stage. It literally looks like he's out the exit door at this stage. And I feel awful for him because he's a guy who's been kind of one of the big players under Arteta, kind of at the start of Arteta's reign as well. Kind of that helped us, especially through that COVID season, and just obviously injuries have hampered his progression. And as you said, like. You do question Arteta. I wouldn't say I'm not Arteta out. I would never say that. I would say, like you said on this morning with Ty and Yardy, basically, I would say you start to question some of the decisions that he's making now in these last few weeks. That it's just not going the way we want it to be going, and something needs to happen. Whether it's we get that sign and we get that striker that we need. We sort out the midfield. We sort out something because this can't seem to continue. And the winter breaks come at the right time because they can start to work on what it needs. But as you said, we've one game now the rest of this month, and then that's it. Like then you're into February.
Yeah. Well, listen. Thank you very much for your call, mate. Good to see you again. And listen, let's hope we can get back on track. But thank you very much. Another caller.
Cheers.
We got Kenny. Is it Kenny? Kenny. How you doing, LeKenny?
Yeah. Hey, what's up, man? What's up, Robbie?
Yeah. No, well, listen, I'm all right.
Yeah,
I'm not even all right. You're better.
I'm all right.
It's all right.
Whose fault is it? We've been running a poll on it. We've had over 1,000 people voted on this poll so far. 41% say it's the manager, 17% say it's the players, 42% say it's both. What's your opinion on it?
I don't think we should blame anybody. You shouldn't really blame anybody. We should just let the team go and get back to work. We should actually be blaming AFTV because you guys are putting so much pressure and it's getting to the players. I don't think you should blame anybody.
AFTV?
Yeah, blame you guys. You guys are like, every weekend you're making, oh man. You guys are putting so much pressure on the players, and I think
they play professional football. Do you know how much pressure it is to be a professional footballer? And you think the fans?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not a job. I work at a job. This is one of my jobs. I have criticisms. I have things I have to hit. I have targets. Like that is life. Like they're professional footballers. I've been a professional footballer. It's not a channel you can't blame a channel who has bringing on fans who spend a lot of money to go and follow the club. We spent a lot of money into them and say it's our fault that this performance so bad.
Do you not think, LeKenny, right?
Yeah.
First of all, if we turn off AFTV tomorrow, do you think the criticism stops?
That's a great point.
Yeah. What about all the people? What about all the, one
Sorry.
second? What about all the people on Twitter? What about all the people on Instagram? What about all the people on every social media platform, every WhatsApp group, every newspaper, every journalist? Do you think they're gonna say, right, we're not blaming the team no more, and they'll get better? These are, as Cecil said, they're professional footballers, and every professional, whether you be professional footballer, rugby player, cricket, you're under pressure to perform, especially when you're at a big club like Arsenal.
I mean, I wouldn't call Arsenal a big club at this moment, really, because we've not been a big club since like 2004.
Arsenal, let me just stop you, right?
Go on, Rob.
Regardless of what we've won, Arsenal are a big club. Yesterday, right? That game, Liverpool versus Arsenal. Remember, how many games did we have on over the weekend in the FA Cup? It must have been about 40 games, right? That game got the most views of any game. It set a new record on British TV with 7.6 million people watching it. The other day, when Arsenal played Liverpool at Anfield, that set a new record in America for the amount of people viewing a football game. Arsenal are a massive club.
Third biggest club in the country.
When you manage Arsenal, Kenny, when you manage Arsenal, you're under pressure. Right. When you play for Arsenal, you're under pressure to perform. Every player that puts on that Arsenal shirt knows that. We don't need to be feeling sorry for them. These players know they've got to have they themselves, and I do think that there was a reaction yesterday because the play was way better than what we saw against Fulham. When they're not putting the ball in the back of the net. Ain't my fault. They haven't missed the seal.
Look, Kenny, just quickly, I know you want to go.
I understand what you're saying, Robbie, but what I'm saying is that sometimes we should develop. I once heard David Beckham say this. He said that the best thing that he ever did was having a short-term memory. Like, we should not be looking into these past games. Like, I know we should be looking in terms of tactics, but in terms of emotional and, approaching other games, we should not be approaching them in terms of, we've had 3 losses in a row, we are under pressure to perform. You should just let the guys go out there and enjoy the game. But you guys, whenever you're out there at the Emirates Stadium, it's like, these guys, and I think this younger generation, like the players like Saka, probably watch you guys and they're like, it hurts them sometimes. It hurts their play.
It hurts.
I'm sure it will. Listen, remember.
Let me finish.
Go on, Kenny.
Yeah, so I'm saying that I don't think we have enough characters in this team, like the standout players that can actually win you games when the going gets tough, So.
And just quickly, Kenny, you probably watched Arteta's press conference after, and he says, that he got questioned about a striker, and Arteta said, I want you to support the players. I know you've probably watched that and think, that is the right thing, but there is questions, and that's what we're doing here. We're asking, what is the answer? What is the solution? This is what this is as a fan channel, and that's what it is, has their opinions. I know what you're saying, but also players can be questions, things can be looked at through, a perspective of how do we improve,
Definitely. I mean, Arteta said something that he just sticks with the same players, but I mean, everyone can see it. We definitely need a new striker. We definitely need a number 9, like a natural number 9. Tony is out there. I don't know how much it'll cost, probably 100 million, but are we in a position to spend 100 million? We've just bought,
So you're saying we need a new striker, but how would Eddie feel if you hearing you saying that? You're saying, you know what I mean? This is an opinion, but this is what happens. This is what we do as well. We talk about we need a new striker, but then how do you're not supporting Eddie by saying that because he wants to be that striker?
Yeah, but if he doesn't step up, if he doesn't step up in training, if he doesn't show up when he gets given a chance, it has to happen for any other person.
Okay, so you're doing that.
It sounds like you're criticizing.
I'm with you guys, but sometimes you guys have to tone it down a little.
Anyway, Kenny, thank you very much. We respect your opinion, man. Big
up, Kenny,
and please come back on again, yeah?
Big up, man.
All right. Have a good night.
Right, we're going to AFC Rod. It's all your fault, Cecil, man. That when you was in the studio cussing off Havertz, it's all your fault.
It is, man.
How you doing, man? AFC Rod.
Yeah, good.
How you doing?
Thank you for having me on. I've unfortunately missed the majority of chats from everyone, so I don't know what the sentiment is across the board in terms of what the people and the fans think about the sentiments. But for me, I think I've caught Cecil kind of stressing how that final third action, that last bit of an attacking move is probably one of the hardest things to coach in football. It's not easy at all. I mean, from my interpretation and my time having played the game, you can really teach all of the elements, in terms of generating chances, shots, and those dangerous actions, right up until that final moment where it's time to pull the trigger. It's really one of the hardest things to coach, and so that's why I'm always hesitant in these scenarios, particularly where we've been playing so well, but not necessarily scoring, to put the onus on Mikel entirely.
That's why they pay the most strikers as well. That's because of that. It's the most difficult thing. So that's why they always, they pay the most money in football. So
what's up with them then? Is it a lack of composure? Is it they're overthinking it? Do you think? Listen, we've seen these guys perform. We've seen Saka perform. We've seen Martinelli perform. Odegaard, all these guys score so many goals. I think over 80-odd goals last season, more than we've ever scored before in a Premier League season. And then all of a sudden, some of those who performed last year so brilliantly can't hit a barn door. What's happened?
I think it's got to be a combination of factors as well. Number one, and probably at the top of the list when it comes to fans, has got to be the expectation that we built for these players. We saw a lot of them, I think, overperform last season. And I think we came into the season with the expectation that we were going to see the same or similar. Rightly or wrongly so, perhaps, that's debatable among...
It's hard to lower your expectations, though, isn't it, after what you've seen?
Exactly.
It's really hard to say, I don't expect us to challenge again.
Why should we lower our expectations either? Because we challenge and we strengthened.
But we over it. Oh, yeah, should we strengthen? Yeah.
I agree. We shouldn't have to lower our expectations, but we have to be realistic about, pro-level football. There are those peaks and troughs in performances. We always speak about the adage of form being temporary and class being permanent. And what we're really seeing is that gulf in sort of class. When you're looking at strikers like Luis Diaz and your Salahs, these are guys who are consistently going to, kill off teams when they have the opportunity. And I think that probably Saka's and Martinelli's are, capable of reaching those heights, but slowly sort of moving towards that trajectory. Not quite there yet. When it comes to the team selections as well, I think as fans we're always biased by our favourites, because if we've been frank this season, we've played almost every permutation of strike force. Right? We've had Trossard up top, we've had Havertz up top, we've had Jesus up top, and for one reason or another they've not.
What's the best permutation?
I think
in your best permutation, if you were selecting a team,
hard, man.
what would your front three be?
With the talent that we have available, it would be Jesus, Martinelli, and Saka. But there are a number of factors that go into why they might not be performing, and fitness has got to be one of them. Confidence has to be another one. If we're going to blame Mikel and the hierarchy on anything specifically, we're always going to talk about lack of options. That's why the clamour is there for an extra striker. Because we want to see something different from what we're seeing. But yeah, I mean, we've almost basically seen every permutation of strike force available that we can choose this season anyway.
Okay, and finally, if you could choose one striker for this team, who would it be? Who should Arsenal break the bank to go out and get?
I think the Tony shout's a little bit cliche. I don't know that I'd specifically choose it. I'd probably be more interested in introducing a right winger. I was quite impressed by Bakayoko when we played them in the Champions League earlier this year.
Was a very good player.
Earlier last year. So I'd probably be looking at somebody similar to that, because we know that Jesus can play out right wing and centrally as well. So perhaps looking at somebody who can rotate with Saka, and we obviously have Trossard who's available to rotate with Martinelli. So that might be more my line of thinking as opposed
I hear that because you mean that Saka rest. Before you go, I know you did say the last question, but are you worried as an Arsenal fan, just before we go? Because right now, as I am, but I know there's a bigger picture. I thought it would be calmed down by the end of the week, but are you worried of what you've seen in the last couple of weeks?
I've watched pro football too long to be worried at this stage. And it was only sort of 2 weeks ago that we were celebrating being top at Christmas. Mm-hmm. We still have a lot of the transfer window to do business. I am hoping that most of that business is going to be loan opportunities.
Yep.
And we're not top of the league, but we are very, very close, right? And I did not expect that we would steamroll the league this year. So we're probably at or around where I expected to be this year.
Wow.
Okay, listen, thank you very much for your call. Really, really appreciate it. And make sure you come on again. Getting into some super chats here. Lecken says, AFTV back to his very best. I don't know what you're mocking saying that, right? But listen, big up to Lecken. Get out of there. Giuseppe Jones says, yesterday a fan, Geronimo, said, get Dybala. I agree. Nah, not for me.
Not for me.
Christian says, problem with the attacking side is that we don't have a natural striker. Even Jesus said himself. By the way, Nketiah, in the team, would you have Nketiah in the starting 11?
In which team Nketiah would be in the starting 11?
The whole thing here. In which team would he be in the starting 11? That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Would Eddie Nketiah...
He'd get into Palace, I'll be honest.
Would Eddie Nketiah get into any of the top 6 starting 11s? Let's take a look at the top 6 teams starting 11. Would he get into Manchester City? No. Would he get into Liverpool? No. Would he get into Aston Villa? No. Would he get into Spurs?
No. Son's available and fit, no. Starting 11, we're saying. First choices. Yeah, no. Who else is in that league? In the top 6 right now, us right now, yes, because we've got injuries. But
that's the 6.
That's true. Do you know what? Another thing is as well. We did when we had one of the callers on. I think it was Kian. I was thinking about
West Ham's the other one. Would he get into West Ham? No. Bowen? No.
Oh no, I was going to say he would, but then no.
Even though West Ham are interested in buying him, by the way. Would he get into Brighton? Maybe. Brighton. Would he get into Man United? Is that Rasmus? Well, he's done better than Rasmus Højlund,
he's done better than Højlund. And
so possibly.
And Brighton.
Would he get into Newcastle? No. Starting 11. Would he get into Chelsea?
Nicholas Jackson.
I don't think so. No. I'm on 10th now. Would he get into Wolves? Wang. No. Would he get into Bournemouth? No.
Solanke's doing well.
Fulham. Would he get into Fulham? No, because Jimenez is playing really well. Would he get into Crystal Palace, who Crystal Palace want him?
I think
possibly.
Yeah, I think
but Edouard's not been doing too bad, but possibly. Would he get into Nottingham Forest?
No,
Chris Wood scored a hat-trick the other day. Also, if Iwani's fit, no. Would he get into Brentford if Ivan Toney's in the team? No.
Nope.
Would he get into Everton, Calvert-Lewin? No. Would he get into Luton? Yes. Would he get into Burnley? Yes. Would he get into Sheffield United? Yes. So we can only guarantee him a place in the bottom 3 teams and possibly Crystal Palace in 14.
Also, that is not good enough, by the way.
And he's at Arsenal.
14 on the back. Anyway, no, you don't care about that. But for me, I can't believe it. I still can't believe it. But also another thing, when Keane was on, I was thinking about the whole Kieran Tierney thing as well. I can't believe that we let him go on loan. And
you know that that's one where I think people are being a little bit revisionist. A little bit revisionist.
I really want to see him leave.
Let me tell you what it is. So I like Kieran Tierney, right? And I would have kept him, but we decided to move him on, right?
He can't do what
Zinchenko was better than Kieran Tierney in that position, right?
Only inverting, and what Arsenal doing their bit of play. Cool.
So we thought we were going to have Urian Timber, who would also be in that position, who was brilliant in pre-season.
100%.
It's not Arteta's fault that in the first game of the season, the guy picks up an ACL and he's out for the whole year. If he'd have known that, I'm sure he wouldn't have sent.
Call him back.
I'm sure he wouldn't have sent Tierney. And now Tierney said the other day
he's not coming back.
Stay.
Yeah, he wants to stay. Yeah,
right? You know what I mean? So
Arteta should be looking to call him back because Kivior is not a natural left back. So I'll put Kieran Tierney above Kivior in that position.
Kivior done better yesterday with that header from the corner.
So you watched it back?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but. It's harsh.
It's harsh.
But you're coming onto it, and
it's a fantastic delivery. It's harsh. Why did he even header it? He should have left it for
Ramsdale. Yeah.
I guess as a defender you got to deal with it.
But then if you're
unless he gets a call.
But okay, you said that as a defender you should got to deal with it. Then deal with it. You didn't deal with it. You scored.
Nunez. We got a few more callers. We're going to get back on in a second.
I
just wanted to get this one. Nunez for Ballon d'Or. right, which is obviously a Liverpool fan, says
Here we go.
stop disrespecting Liverpool. Konate horrendous.
This is me.
Now, yeah, I heard
This
this.
is on me.
I have to say,
This is on me.
I'm with Nunes for the Ballon d'Or.
Oh, you're with him, yeah? You want him to get you think he can get Ballon d'Or? He is washed as well.
No,
So-
no, that's the name of the guy's
Yeah, I
handle.
know it's his name of playing. But yeah, no, I said
that Konate's a good player, man.
But on the ball yesterday,
good.
I didn't think he was good at all on the
He's a
ball.
good player.
Horrendous was a bit of an exaggeration, but on the ball he was bad. If you go on Twitter or on X, you can see the highlights. Someone put in the highlights. I said, get me the highlights, and then I put in my highlights of the video that I watched today. You'll see on the ball he was wasteful. Defending wise, very good, but he shouldn't have got man of the match. Trent, by the way, was unbelievable in that game yesterday. First half and second half. I watched it all the way back.
Trent, great on the ball.
Oh my days,
One of
Bobby.
the
The
best.
passes he was picking out.
But I can see
Jesus.
where people sort of though he was getting skinned by Martinelli.
Martinelli. But then
Martinelli
what did
came on.
Martinelli do after the end product?
He didn't, but I'm just saying he was getting done way too easy by
Yeah.
Martinelli. So, but when he's on the,
On the ball-
I think Trent should be in the midfield, a bit like
He's
Zinchenko.
incredible on
But
the-
he's a great player, and it was a great delivery by him, and that's what earned him the goal. Let's get into some more callers. We got Richie. Richie, how you doing, Richie?
How you doing, guys? How's everything?
Yeah, I'm good. You're looking very cool there, man, with them glasses and that, man. I'll tell you, wherever you are,
America, surely.
wherever you
It's
are, it's a
looking
lot
warm.
warmer than it is here. I'll
Is it
tell you
America?
what, it's snowy there.
I'm in New
freezing.
Jersey. It's cold. It's
Yeah.
cold, but I'm in New Jersey.
You're looking very cool, man. Cooler than we are right
Thank-
now because we're still a bit frustrated after yesterday. What's your stance on who's to blame for this Arsenal slump? Because it is a bit of a slump. One win in the last 7 games.
Bad.
It's bad. It's been bad. It's a bad run of form. Feel terrible for the guys. It's bad. The whole situation is bad, and you could blame it on Mikel because there's a lot of things that he's gotten wrong. I support him. I've always have since he started. I think he was good. I thought he was good from the beginning. Of course, he didn't have that much luck at the first 2 seasons, and well, you could say the first one because he won the FA Cup, but the other seasons they were a little bit disappointing. But he got a lot of decisions wrong on the way, and he did very good with the low profile signings, which I was okay with. I think the talent ID was very good in the defensive positions, and you could say Mikel Arteta was a defensive midfielder, so his mind will be more defensive, and I see his approach, and I understand that because old school coaches will tell you that you build the team from the back, and that's how he did, and we're all happy with the defenses with defensive we have and defensive midfielders we have. Now, unlucky that some of them broke down, and they keep breaking down. Now, the coach, you can see the coaching, and here's what I could blame it on Arteta a little bit: the fact that he's one-dimensional, and it's not that the tactics are one-dimensional, because if you really look into the games, we're a little bit of a hybrid. It's very nice to see how we even change formation in the game, like as the game goes. It's very smart. We get into the positions. The whole tactics are working because we get into the positions to score, but then we the guys let us down, and they letting him down as well, because at the end of the day, if you get into the position and you got 30 chances or 20 chances, whatever it is, and you don't put it in the back of the net, I mean, the system was working. You couldn't put it in the back of the net, which is a whole different scenario. And then that's when the questions come. He didn't sign the right players. I think where he really messed up was with Havertz, and we all said it, but I think is the profile that he went for. We needed a creative midfielder. Like, I get it. Martin does very good. He's intensive. Like, he's intense. He
created a lot yesterday.
Yeah.
And he's very good. Like, even in the games that we played that we lost, he was doing very good stuff. He was very trickery, very good. But he cannot have that final ball that, let's say, Gundogan had. It's that resolution. I don't see the only thing I can blame Arteta for is in the system is that I don't see the final coaching. I don't see the 1-2s in the edge of the box. I don't see on the sides the combinations. If you sent Tierney away, who had more a profile overlapping. Would you say Tierney or Ben White?
Tierney used to overlap very well.
He did used to overlap very
He used to
well.
overlap very
Ben
well.
White did,
He was a
Ben
lad.
White did as well.
And whip crosses into the box. But
I love Ben White. I love him because he brings that, he brings that nastiness to him with him. We need that in the team. We do need him. He's very good, and he and that's the other piece he got wrong, getting Ramsdale off the team, because Ramsdale. The difference with Ramsdale is that he brings an energy to the defense. You see him every he stops the ball, he's celebrating. He doesn't miss a defender making a tackle. He goes and claps his defender. And that type of energy keeps you on your toes and makes you a bit more resolute. And that's where I think he's got it wrong. I understand. I think where he got it wrong is he sees training sessions and he sees the players that are putting 100%, but then he doesn't realize that there are, ex-players will tell you, there are players who train very well and there are players who perform very well.
Okay, well, listen, thank you very much for those points you made. Some great points there. And make sure you come on again.
One more thing, and I'm so sorry.
I have to rush you because I've got a load of more callers to come on, but give me that quickly.
Go on.
One thing. I think it's unfair on Nketiah. I think Nketiah will get in a lot of teams. It's just the type of chance creations that we have. Nunes misses a lot. And I would say if Nketiah got the same chances created for him, I'd say he would be more lucky. It's just the type of game that we play. And sorry, guys.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's all good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You know what? That's a good point he makes.
Nah, but I'm not having it though.
What Nunes?
But Nunes creates because he's a chaos striker. He creates a lot of.
He's not clinical. He's another one.
Nunes is terrible.
This is again.
I think Nunes is terrible.
He's not terrible as a player. He brings a lot, but he can't finish.
Yeah.
And Liverpool paid nearly £70 million for him. And there lies the problem at the moment. Those clinical striker, are they out there? Let's get another caller up there. VKS, how you doing? Where you calling from?
Hey guys, I'm calling from Mumbai, India.
Mumbai, big up.
Yes, so
good to have you on.
I'm a little late, so don't have a flashy background.
Don't worry about that background, man. I mean, all the way from India, you're welcome here on AFTV. Who's to blame for this slump?
So I think it's a confluence of many things, but I think what's at the heart of the problem is the transition in midfield. I think it's very slow and ponderous this season, and Thomas Partey is a massive miss. And I think when we talk about blaming Mikel, I don't think you can blame him for our forward players drawing blanks, but not addressing the Partey problem, knowing that he's so injury prone and not getting someone else in midfield, I think has been
agreed.
Instrumentally, a huge reason for this season's mini slump as we're facing currently.
Yeah, but hold on 1 second, right?
I agree with you there.
I mean, listen, there's rumours today that we've been looking at Amadou Onana in talks
Good player.
with him from Everton, so you never know. Maybe that could be a January signing, but that had nothing to do with yesterday's game. We dominated the midfield. Jorginho was excellent in there.
He was, yeah.
So was Declan Rice. So was Odegaard. They created chance after chance that these men up front did not take them. Obviously, on the whole, we'd all love to see Partey in there, and it's been unfortunate he's been out, but still, there's games that we've lost. Aston Villa created loads of chances, lost. West Ham created loads of chances yesterday. Well, nothing to do with Partey. These are guys got to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, there's a few more things. I think we don't have a real gunman in the box. I think that that's obviously plagued us throughout the season. But another thing that I would like to say that still somewhat pertains to this problem is that the way I look at our wingers, right, Saka, Martinelli, I don't think they're wingers who rely on close control and skipping past players in tight space as much as they do having a lot of width on either side and getting the ball early so that they can drive in. And I think what's happening right now is the midfield is a little stifled because Declan Rice is expected to be this linchpin where not only does he have to be the destroyer, not only does he have to drive forward, it's a bit of everything that he's expected to do. And as a result, what's happening is our midfield is a little overrun, our wingers are a little overrun. I think they're slightly jaded as a result. I think having Jorginho in the team was a must, and I'm surprised that Mikel hasn't called for Jorginho, because for all his deficiencies, one thing that he does have is he can thread the ball, right? He has that pass where he can break the lines and put some.
Did that well,
Remember that one Champions League goal? I think was it against Lens at home, where he put the ball into Saka, and then I think that was a 4-0. So I think what's happened is Mikel, at least as a short-term solution, should have brought in Jorginho into the team to partner Rice a little bit earlier. I think that's one. Another thing is, a lot of these players are very instinctive. So when you give them too much time on the ball, as is currently the case, where there's a little slowed down tempo to our game. The flow is it's not as expansive as it was last season, and as a result, I think with a lot of these young players, when you give them too much time on the ball, they tend to ponder a little bit too much. So I feel that that's another reason why even Zinchenko, for example, now he doesn't have the ability to ping one, diagonally across like Alexander-Arnold does. So by the way, I think that when we talk about Zinchenko's attacking play compensating for his defensive liabilities, that only works when you have someone like a Xhaka, who can receive the ball and then, drive as he was last season. And it's the short balls and it's the balls through the lines that Zinchenko plays very well. That, again, hasn't been something that we can rely upon this season. And as a result, we're only seeing the calamitous defensive side to Zinchenko and not his attacking prowess that we saw last season. I think not replacing Partey, I think not having a gunman in the box, I think a little bit, you can't have it both ways, right? You can't run with the hare and hunt with the hound. You have to be a little, if you're being ruthless, then be ruthless all throughout. Don't, don't bring a sideways solution by replacing Ramsdale with Raya, who at best is as good, but then, not addressing the Eddie problem. I think one more thing I'd like to say is that we don't have as much strength and depth as people might like to believe that we do. I think that ultimately speaking, when someone was talking about a plan B, I don't even think we need plan Bs, but we need people who are as effective to replace, our starting 11 when they're not on song. Because what's happening is, for example, last season, they all performed out of their skin. And as a result, we were relying on the same starting 11 day in, day out to take us through. This season, when there's 5, 6, 7 players out of form, the replacements are like for like, but just not of the same quality. And I think that's plaguing us as well. So we need one of the two victors, Boniface, more affordable perhaps, and maybe won't be a bidding war, but I mean Osimhen would be the dream, and then we need someone to replace Partey. I think that's imperative.
All right, listen, thank you very much for your call. Really appreciate it. We've got one more caller we're going to get on before we end tonight. Carl, we've got Carl. By the way, I'm just looking at the.
Hey, Carl.
This is painful as well. Watching the FA Cup draw come through. That's an interesting one. Chelsea versus Aston Villa.
Oh, that's a big
an interesting one.
You're hurting yourself rewatching through that.
I'll be honest. West Ham or Bristol City versus Nottingham Forest or Blackpool. It could have been us. It could have been us.
Could have been. Could have, should have,
What did you make of it yesterday, man? What's going on? Where's this slump coming from? What's happening?
It's hard, isn't it? It's really hard, really, to put one nail on it. Clinical, but it's just non-existent at the moment, really, up front. But compared to last season, I feel like the biggest drop-off for us is people say this a lot with the fact that Partey's been out and the transition that we miss. And I kept seeing it yesterday with Declan Rice. There's so many times you've got the ball low into just in front of the back four, and he had time to turn and run, but he passed it sideways, and he does that a lot. And believe me, I love Declan Rice. When I found out he'd signed up, I literally almost changed my name. But when you've got someone like that who's got that kind of presence, you don't need to give him that added pressure of always having to just to spin. And I feel like when we had Xhaka last season, Xhaka took that obligation away from Partey. He had the option to, but he didn't have to always be the man. Where nowadays, when you watch Arsenal, Declan Rice has to be the first man in order for our team to transition and break the gap the way we did last season. We played basically in there half the entire game. Where we do that this season, but there's no dynamicism when it comes to, it's, like everyone's been saying it with Saka. Like, bless him, like he's been carrying the team for 2.5, 3 seasons now, but they know what he's going to do. They know he's going to drift wide, he's going to get the ball deep, and he's going to, if not, try to take the man on. So they bundle him down, and then you get like Odegaard, who's been very, very, very hit and miss, really, especially since signing his new deal. Odegaard last season, I felt like he had that little bit of extra muscle. I feel like he's lost a bit of that strength that he had last season.
Still creating chances though. Yesterday, creating loads of chances. Right? Is it as simple as we need a striker? Is it as simple as that?
I don't think we need a striker per se. I think personally, our biggest asset is stuck out on the wing. I think Martinelli is our striker. He should play as our striker. We should put Jesus where Martinelli is and put Martinelli through the middle. Because that one thing that guy does, every time he gets through on goal, he scores. If you notice, like it's Liverpool, he's probably the most clinical finisher that we've got. When it comes to like one-time instinctive, he can score headers, he knows where to be in the box. And I personally, if I was Arteta, tomorrow I'd be telling Jesus, I want you on the wing, I want Martinelli up front, and I want you to constantly just hang on the edge of defenders and allow people that have got the passing ability, like, Odegaard and Declan Rice can thread a pass. You've got like Jorginho who can pass. But he's got pace like no one else in our team. Martinelli.
Why is Arteta dropping Martinelli then? Because I hear what you're saying. Because there's other players as well that have been off form, but it's weird. I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Martinelli can be clinical. Hasn't really found it this season, but he's currently dropped at the moment. Really.
Yeah.
Hold on. Sorry, guys. Newsflash! Breaking news.
Who have Liverpool
got? No, I'll tell you what. That pissed me off. Right, Liverpool got Norwich or Bristol Rovers at home. Right, so that's pissed me off. But one thing that has given me a little bit of smile is that Tottenham Hotspur have been drawn against Manchester City, and so
they've not celebrated yet until the game's played.
Although they have got, mind you, they got a good record against Man City. But we'll be able to find out just what they're made of in the FA Cup. Yeah. Tottenham versus Manchester City.
Expression says, he's going to win. He said he can win the FA Cup. Yeah,
they're going to win it. Let's see.
Let's see how that goes.
Fulham versus Newcastle. Carl,
we've just lost
dropped
Carl.
Out. Sorry, apologies, Carl. But we have come to the end now. Now, we're us cutting you off, Carl, and he's making some fantastic...
big up, Carl.
Made some fantastic points. And by the way, everybody who's come on tonight been absolutely brilliant. Even the guy who blamed it on AFTV. Right?
That one made me sound, boy.
Big up yourself, man. But no, thanks for everybody for coming on. Couple more super chats before I go. One more. Pete Kenny. He says, if we can go all out on a striker...
If we can't
go all out on a striker, forget about it.
Well, I'll be honest, mate. It's looking unlikely. I'll be real with you, Pete. You might have to forget about it. Listen, it might happen. I don't know.
Do you know what?
I just don't see it happening.
Do you know what? The last guy, they made a great point, Why don't we try Martinelli down the middle? I remember that time
they were screaming that last season, weren't they?
Remember that time when Aubameyang he got suspended for 3 games and put Martinelli down the middle. He done brilliant. And he is good in the air. We haven't really... Why not try him as a striker? Why not try something else?
Got to get him in the team first.
Right? Why not try something else?
I hear you. I like Martinelli.
But listen, there's enough players up there who did brilliantly last season. If they can recapture that, you never know, we can have a good second half of the season. There's still the league to play for. There's still Champions League to play for. It's not all doom and gloom, but we've got to get our act together. Cecil, thank you very much. Man United playing tonight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Come on, Wigan, man.
Yeah, Wigan.
I don't think so, though. I don't think so.
But we'll be there. If they don't do it, I'll be there.
Listen, thank you very much for being involved in the show today. This is a Fanzone. We're going to be here every Monday reacting to what's gone on at the weekend with regards to Arsenal. And thank you very much for your comments that came in as well. And don't forget to subscribe here to AFTV and join me every day for Transfer Daily, where I'll keep you up to date with all of the players being linked with Arsenal this January. Have yourself a great rest of the evening.
Take care.